And I'd like to ask Diana, Sheila, Meg, and Anne-Marie to begin this reflection.
Yesterday I was struck by the reflection and the journey that's been taken by our Canadian sisters as outlined by James, so thank you. And specifically within that, there was a remembrance, an invitation, and I want to go back to that. And that was from the central team, because I think it applies to all of us. And that is a reflection on a phrase from Luke's Gospel, put out into the deep water. And I want to take that invitation further, which was also extended to us, to accept the challenges of the unknown, drawing on our own depths and those of our sisters, certain in the knowledge that all is held in God's tender and loving heart. And that is the reflection that I have and has been resonating with me throughout these days. And thank you.
Kat's homily intrigued me because she talked about this as a marriage. It's not a word we had used at all. We were trying to avoid using merger. We were trying to avoid all kinds of things, joining together. We didn't know quite what to call it, but she called it a marriage, and I liked that. And then I met Norma's brother Murray and his wife Grace. Murray is a Canadian, and his wife Grace grew up in New Haven, Connecticut. It was a marriage of Canada and the United States. And I thought, you represent what we just did. And they said, indeed we do. And Murray said, and it's a lifelong learning, believe me. So I think I have that as my reflection. We are engaged now together in a lifelong learning of what it is to be Korean women, and I am very grateful.
Today's the culmination of a long and serious journey for us Canadians. And I think it's a beginning of that journey for the U.S. province in many ways. We've turned the sod, plowed the land, planted seeds, and tried to dig out some of the weeds. We have before us a garden of possibilities, full of promise as we move back together as one province, for we were birthed from the same mother, Philippine Duchesne. She was a risk-taker, a pioneer who left all behind, and today we need only take an imaginative trip across our continent to experience what's flourished because of the risk that she took. We, by our very lives, are branches that spring from her vine of risking all. My hope for our new province would be to become one branch on the vine, born from the risk that Philippine took when she sailed for North America, strengthened from the pruning that will surely occur. May we strive to live creative new ways of revealing the love of the heart of Christ together in our province.
When I shared the first day, I used a quote about when old cultures are dying, that the new culture is formed by those that are courageous enough to risk to be vulnerable. That quote has become extremely real for me the last 3 days. Through the sharing, through hearing the stories of each of you from Canada that have shared, but mostly yesterday with James, going over the process and the discussions at table during that process. And what I realized from the wonderful gift I got from Teresa, from Madeleine, from Sheila, and from Paula at our table was that you have been incredibly vulnerable and continue that way. And my prayer is that the ones of us joining you from the United States can not only see what has come of your vulnerability, which is incredible strength for all of us, but what has come out of your discernment and what it means to discern and come to a unanimous decision. If you can bring any gift to Americans, it's how in the world do we get to a unanimous decision? But I think your process that you used, your process, hopefully will be an example to us, and we can really learn from that as we become one. So thank you, and thank you, Jamie, for that opportunity.
So today, we are called to be courtroom women. We are called to be, as Mary reminded us at the beginning, like Mary and Elizabeth, women who love each other, women who help the Word of God be born in a new way in ourselves, in our communities, and among our people. Women who need each other and need God to make sense of the situations in which we find ourselves. Women who meet in the garden of possibilities, ready to plant, fertilize, prune, and be pruned, and grow together. Many people have mentioned during these days about how our potential strength lies in the recognition of our vulnerability, our fragility, and our very real need of each other. We build our future, as we sang this morning, on the shoulders of courageous but vulnerable women, beginning with Sophie and Philippine. Women who ventured beyond their borders to begin and grow the society in the Americas. And the many women who have kept this fire burning. When we think back to our common past, when, I'm not sure if it was 3 or 4 RSCJ, came from France and from Louisiana, journeyed from New York to Quebec in the middle of the winter of 1842 to begin something new. I suppose it should not surprise us that we are still willing to give up the known, to venture into something new for the sake of our mission. We build our future with all the RSCJ in this room and our sisters to the south who are with us in spirit. One big difference between 1842 and 2013 is that our Sacred Heart family has become significantly larger, and we move forward not just as RSCJ vowed members, but also with our sisters and brothers who are colleagues in mission, associates, educators of the Sacred Heart, thousands of people who live our spirituality and mission and commit themselves with us to discover and make known the love of the heart of God in our world. I have great hope that the life and mission of the Society of the Sacred Heart will be stronger and deeper because we are willing to risk, knowing that we are simultaneously vulnerable and strong. Entering into this journey together will lead us to discover the heart of God within the people of our new international province. Despite the border that has been constructed between our two countries, we are one people who share the care and responsibility for our earth and for our universe. As Kathy reminded us in her letter this morning, our vocation to be God's heart in the world is lived in a community whose context and home is international. I am sure that the joys and struggles of our two countries, our many cultures and peoples, will call us to contemplate the pierced heart of Jesus with new eyes and respond to God's calls with passion and energy, both in our two countries and also around the world where new life is emerging. This new venture that we call Society of the Sacred Heart, United States, Canada, is in God's hands and in ours. Let us conclude this assembly by praying together the prayer written by Sharon Karam to celebrate the U.S.-Canada province. Loving God,
you surprise us always with new life. Give us new eyes to see that we are changed today as we become no longer two branches of the society, but one new branch on the vine planted by our sister Philippine to glorify you and draw many to learn of your love. Make us all eager to serve you in creative ways as we celebrate the reality which gives new meaning to Corona and Alana before days.
so maybe we could, I guess I'm supposed to say, this assembly is over, but it's not quite over until, let's sing together the Canticle of Mary, and then that will be a sign that it's time to move out.